What I have to say will blow some of your minds and has the potential to completely change the rest of your life. Good always follows the bad. Light always follows the darkness. You wouldn't have been able to handle these women pressing up on your man. Book smart with some street smart will always outsmart. Because we live our lives in seasons, and I'm not referring to winter, spring, summer, and fall. This is the Ever Airwaves Think podcast, brought to you by Liv One Co, where we explore ideas that challenge, comfort, and clarify. I'm Liv, and in every episode, we break down life's complexities with intellect, insight, and a touch of curiosity. All right, we're on air. Say it with me, duality. Yes, duality is the reason you should never worry when things go wrong. Duality, queens, is at the center of why things go right in our lives and why things sometimes go wrong in our lives. The more I've studied the concept of duality, it truly has cleared up a lot of things for me, answering a lot of my questions, which are probably some of the same questions you have. So when you look deeper into things, I realize that we can attribute duality to God. God told us from the very beginning what he created and what to expect. And it's funny how we look for answers to things that are really given to us from Genesis 1 and beyond. So what is duality? How does it affect my life? And why should we no longer worry when things go wrong in life? I'm going to answer all of these things. What I have to say will blow some of your minds and has the potential to completely change the rest of your life, because it will shift your thinking and it will change how you respond and how you handle things in your life going forward. My dad has always told me it's not what happens to you in life, it's how you handle what happens to you in life. And I think duality will make you stop fighting against life's challenges. Because you know how we women like to fight, okay? We like to fight, block, strategize. And some of you even like to scheme to avoid problems. But not me, girl. That's y'all, not me. You know, I handle my problems. I'm not plotting and scheming. But seriously though, dualism will help you start to see that your challenges in life are actually part of the big picture to really make you a better person. And it's really part of your glow up and elevation. Don't ever say I didn't teach you anything. You're welcome. Again, what is duality? Duality is the dance of opposites. That's it. That's all it is. What are the dance of opposites? The dance of opposites are light and darkness, love and hate, good versus evil, friend and enemy, life and death, joy and sorrow, peace and conflict, strength versus weakness, heaven and hell. And hell is not for us, okay? The gates of hell shall not prevail. We shall see a new heaven and a new earth. Got it? Because, make sure y'all are living right, because there will be no gnashing of the teeth over here. Not for me. Absolutely not. When I had my wisdom teeth removed a few years ago, that was enough for me. Okay. I want no parts of gnashing of the teeth in hell. Them gnashing of the teeth here on earth about took me out. Okay. I was done for 5 to 7 days. Never again. Never, never, never. Okay. The strongest bones in my body will stay intact. Y'all can play with God if y'all want to, but at your own risk. I digress. As I was saying, duality is when two opposing forces or concepts, when they exist together, both often necessary to create meaning in life and balance as well, right? So think about it. Would we truly ever understand what death is if we didn't know or have the concept and meaning of what life is? Probably not. Let me tell you, when my daughter was a toddler, we had death in the family and we really didn't want to bring her to the funeral because, funerals are sad, but it was her great grandfather, and love him and miss him dearly, wonderful man. And he had such a close bond with our daughter, which was his great granddaughter. She didn't know any better, but she would go in the kitchen cabinets and sneak him cookies when he wasn't supposed to have them. And my mother-in-law, yes, mother-in-law, could not figure out how her father's sugar levels were spiking sometimes. And then she finally caught their little scheme going on. Funny stuff. But anyway, my daughter at the age of 3 stood up in the church pew at his funeral and said to her Mima, what's in the box? We were tickled by her questioning, but when we didn't give her the answer right away and told her to be quiet, because the eulogy was being given, she doubled down with her question and became progressively louder. Mima, what's in the box? What's in the box, Mima? And my mother-in-law just ended up taking her out because baby girl wanted an answer. She wanted to know what was going on. And there were people trying to hold in their laugh because it was kind of cute, just her innocence and all. And I said, oh my goodness, box. That's a whole casket, girl. But again, she was 3 and you know what? It is a box. But anyway, she did not have an understanding of life and death. But as time went by and she no longer saw her grandpapa in his room when we visited that she used to go running into, that's when we could start to explain to her that he's gone. You know, grandpapa is gone. He's passed away. He's in heaven. He went to the Lord. And that's where you start learning that there is life and there's death. There's duality. My theologian hat has now entered the building. It is seated and fitted on my head, and I am wearing my hat, ladies. Y'all know how I love to dig philosophically into things because that's how I do. It wouldn't be an Ever Airwaves Think podcast if I didn't. Let's keep going. Before we go any further, I need to take a moment to thank you. Because of this community, women of every shade, hue, and background who show up, pour in, and stand tall with us, the 100 Commandments of a Black Queen is now a top 30 self-help book with glowing 5-star reviews. You made that happen. You did that. If you haven't grabbed your copy yet, listen, this isn't just a book. The 100 Commandments of a Black Queen is an elevation tool. It's the kind of book that sits on your coffee table and instantly upgrades the room. A conversation starter, a confidence amplifier, a snatch your wig and remind you who you are manual for commanding your day, your position, and your authority in this world. And the best part, it's on sale right now at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and for my UK listeners, Blackwell's has you covered. Yes, The 100 Commandments of a Black Queen, my book, yours truly, Liv, is available everywhere books are sold. So if you're ready to step into the next version of you that doesn't shrink, doesn't apologize, and definitely doesn't dim her crown, this is your moment. Check the episode description for all the details and direct links to grab your copy of the 100 Commandments of a Black Queen today. I love you for that. I want to remind you that we've already been put on notice about opposing forces, which is duality. And we live in duality every day, but we ignore it or have never really put 2 and 2 together. So when things are going so good in life, you got the house, the car, the career, your husband, your family, all these things, right? They all come down basically to the season you're in your life. So think about in the book of Ecclesiastes, we're told in chapter 3 that there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. And the last time I checked, we are under the heavens. Am I right or am I right? Okay, it tells us, there's a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time for war and a time for peace, and a time to be born and a time to die. Now, wait a minute. We know over here, we're not dying anytime soon. We out here living and thriving. Not our season, not our time. We are thriving and surviving. We are in our queendom soft life era. Only good things happening. Only good things are coming our way. We speak life and not death. But what we're dealing with when it comes to happiness versus sadness or joy versus pain, these are all what we call contrasting experiences. Every contrasting experience serves a purpose, and it reminds us that our seasons are nothing but life cycles. We have been privy to this information from the jump. God told us in the Old Testament what to expect. He laid out the format of life's highs and lows, and maybe we, hadn't connected the dots just yet. And some of y'all are actually probably guilty of not reading your Bible. You need to dust that thing off, friend, okay? But we shouldn't, even worry when bad things happen to us. That's just for the season or for the life cycle we are in. And honestly, these life cycles we're in are designed to teach us something and even strengthen us. Let me ask you this. How can you appreciate success if you've never failed before? If you've never failed at anything in life before, can you really even say that you are successful? No, I highly doubt it because you don't have a reference point of what it's like to not be successful. So you're basically missing the entire climb to get there, which is the actual success when you're doing the work to get there. And that's why I think some of these Nepo and Silver Spoon babies who are now adults be crashing crashing out when things fall apart and don't go their way. They're so used to someone telling them yes, yes, yes. And when they hear no, 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 it's another whole type of downward spiral. Like, get the psychiatrist on the line stat. And it's because they are oblivious to the life concept of duality. And when ish hits the fan in their life, ish is hitting the fan. They don't know what to do. It's a whole TMZ meltdown. I think also relationships of duality tend to work very well. It's that whole opposite attracts type thing. Like, it's when the man and the woman in the relationships personalities, they balance each other out. Like, think about a Sierra and a Russell Wilson. Sierra and Russell balance each other out very well and are probably somewhere working on baby number 18. I love them together. Like, Sierra is this vibrant, young hip hop and R&B pop star full of energy and very humble. And ladies, that's key. Humbleness will take you very, very far in life. I think that's why Cece is so versatile. She's writing, producing, singing, dancing, modeling, just a real humble, sweet girl. And she's married to Russell Wilson, and who's a good black man, okay? All right, he is very disciplined as an athlete, and he's also a man of faith, which is super important. And he and Sierra really embrace each other's differences. And I love how he unapologetically accepted Sierra and her beautiful firstborn as his own. You can't tell me that's not his son, okay? Little Russell Jr. But someone give Russell Wilson Father of the Year award. Like, he gets the claps, right? He gets the claps for me. He's such a model father, husband to Sierra, and just a good black man, all right? Overall, they just work, and I love it. Another couple is Denzel Washington and his beautiful wife, Pauletta. They've been married for 40 years, right? Claps for them too. 40 years is a blessing. Pauletta has been the backbone of their family, and Denzel said it himself. And he is just as charismatic, and he be out here just acting left and right. Movies this, movies that. I mean, I would like to know how Pauletta, with her classy-based self, been checking these groupies and women that have been throwing themselves at her man for all these years. Like, cause baby, some of y'all would have made it on like true crime or something. You wouldn't have been able to handle it, right? You wouldn't have been able to handle these women pressing up on your man. You know, y'all running up and fighting off those thoughts. And meanwhile, all Pauletta's stories and how she handled the girls and kept that under wraps, they airing on Unsolved Mysteries, right? You ain't never figuring it out. We ain't never finding out how Mrs. Pauletta Washington gathered those groupies up, okay? Some of y'all just be so ratchet though. Oh my goodness. But one thing I will not be doing is fighting over a man. Baby, you will catch me on the islands of Tahiti, drink in hand, feet in water, doing me before you see me scrapping over a man. It's a good day and a goodbye for me. But y'all carry on with your gangsta boo ways. I've laid out a lot of facts for you about duality, why you shouldn't worry when bad things happen to you or things go wrong in your life. Anything bad is just for a season. I need for you to get that in your head. Like, anything bad or that goes wrong is just for a period of time. You're just experiencing momentarily the opposing force to good, which is bad. Those are forces, good versus bad. So because we live our lives in seasons, and I'm not referring to winter, spring, summer, and fall, I mean our life runs in these cycles. I want you to know when you arrive at the next best season, don't be sitting there waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, I want you to enjoy your season, enjoy your win, enjoy your moment, enjoy all the good that comes during that time, because some of these seasons, good or bad, can be short or long. They are just specific blocks of time. My ever Airwaves sis and bro, you know, for those of you out there, it's really about what you are learning in that season, like what you may be harvesting in that season and what you may be reaping in that season. I want to get a little scientific with you about duality and how it connects to Newton's law. Where my physics girls at? Shout out to y'all. I love classical mechanics in relation to motion. Like, I've always found that to be quite fascinating. So hand me my science goggles, please. Okay. I'm giving you STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Setting the bar high today. I'm keeping you educated, my friends, right? So just remember, book smart with some street smart will always outsmart. I just made that up, but it's true. It's very, very true. So let's carry on. Newton's third law, in case you forgot, is for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So Newton's third law really speaks to duality. What he's saying is there is an interdependency between opposing forces. So they kind of rely on each other. You bounce a ball on the ground with like force, the ground pushes the ball back up, and it's an equal and opposite reaction, which is the opposing force going back and forth. Duality comes into play when you and your man's differences complement each other. One that I know works very, very well is you may have an independence about you. That's pretty much how we women are these days anyway, but I know I have an independence about myself. And one thing I'm not going to be doing is being up under my man, up under my husband all day. Like, okay, like let him breathe and let me breathe. However, I am dependent of him for him to be the provider and protector and man of our home. And then he has his dependence of me for domestication, nurture, and so on. And while he has his own independencies and some of the things that he does. So it's that duality between us that's balancing us out. Life is a mix of highs and lows. And if it wasn't, would it even be called life? Like, that's the real question. And I really don't think so, my love. When bad things happen in your life and they seem impossible to recover from, you have to remember that good always follows the bad. Light always follows the darkness. We get to live in a world of balance. Things balance over time. And anything negative, anything bad, anything hurtful that we experience are what we call teachable moments. We grow and we elevate. Always, like stop and ask yourself, what is this teaching me? I find myself asking that question a lot when things are happening and I don't feel good about what's happening or it's upset me. I'm like, okay, what is this moment supposed to teach me? Sis, remember Romans 8:28 that all things work together. All things work together. Key word is together. So no matter if you are experiencing opposing forces to love, light, good, joy, health, and peace, the opposing forces to those things would be like hate, darkness, evil, sorrow, sickness, and conflict, right? Those are all the bad and negative things of love, light, good, joy, health, and peace. You got to know that God works them together. He already knows, he already understands, because all things work together for our good to those who love God. Now, wait a minute, let me pause here, because sorry, if you don't love God and you out here being a menace to society, and yes, some of you women out here are diabolical in these streets, it's not going to work. This scripture is not going to work for you. What Mary say? I love God. You don't love God. What's wrong with you? I love him, I love him, I love him. Something like that, something to that effect. I feel this scripture with every fiber in my being, that all things work together for the good. And that verse wraps up with this saying. The final thing that is super, super important, and I'm always speaking about, is called according to his purpose. If you're called according to his purpose. Queens, you must know your purpose. And I've covered a few times how to know your purpose in many of these episodes. Knowing your purpose is extremely easy. And I do recommend you go back and listen to a few of those episodes. And you can also learn more about your purpose on the Successful Life playlist on the Liv One Co YouTube channel and in the Dropping Gems 365 for her book by Jan L. Dane. It's covered a lot there in those two resources. Keep living out your amazing story and don't worry when things go wrong. It just means life is lifing and it's all good. You're going to be fine, girl. I promise you. Things going to bounce right back. Take care of your mind, take care of your body, and take care of your spirit. Soft life living is where it's at. Thanks for listening to the Ever Airwaves Think podcast. If today's episode made you elevate, share it with someone who needs it. Until next time, keep questioning until you have those answers. I'm out.